Yo, people, welcome back to DR Transfers. I'm your host to do the most, Matisse, in the building today. Listen, we got a lot to get through, and it seems to be mainly Chelsea related because, my God, are this club doing an absolute madness in the transfer window now. They have every target and any target linked to them. We're going to, delve into it, discuss each one, maybe put some probability on each one as well and give a little bit of validity to some, but let's go through them because it's mad. Big up the comment section as always. Let's obviously start with Chukwuemeka, who's who just signed from Aston Villa, young kid there, really talented. Has come straight into the first team. They've just put that announcement out today on their social media pages, and it's actually been confirmed by Todd Bowie that he will be part of the first team squad this season. Now, he was with Aston Villa, linked with Barcelona, linked with Juventus, linked with a lot of top European clubs. He's considered to be one of the best young talents out there. And on top of that, he also, like I said, is in the first team squad. So interesting to see the minutes. Like, it's a weird one. There's so many midfielders that Chelsea have on their books already. They play obviously that double pivot. It'll be interesting to see where he plays. Maybe he'll get an opportunity in that front three. Don't expect him to be a guaranteed starter for sure, but 12 appearances for Aston Villa, 2 starting appearances in the Premier League. So most of it was based on that under 23s, season that he had. But like I said, very talented young player, very highly regarded and confirmed to be in the first team this season. So what does that mean for the likes of Gallagher, for Loftus-Cheek, for obviously we expect Barkley to leave. There's a lot of midfielders at Chelsea that play in that 8 box-to-box-ish role, that now could have their futures in a little bit of doubt because you can only have so many numbers in there. And Tuchel has had a personal phone call with the player, convinced him to come to Chelsea for this very reason, that he'll be involved in the first team. And for any of you that have checked him out and know who he is and know the talent, then yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with those midfield options. I anticipate there'll be quite a few outgoings in midfield, at least for Chelsea, at least minimum 1 or 2. But let's talk about the headline on the title is Barcelona, obviously offering Chelsea De Jong, offering Chelsea Aubameyang, which Fabrizio confirmed last night, offering Chelsea Depay, which has kind of been long-standing, and a lot of Premier League clubs have been looking at Depay. And he could be leaving on a free. It could be a contract termination situation where they relieve him of his duties and let him go for free. So there is no transfer fee, and maybe clubs will be more likely to take him on if he's willing to forego the rest of his wages on his contract. That's something that Barcelona are looking to do because, of course, they have a lot of players that they'll consider are now overpaid or peripheral players in the squad, and they'll want Barcelona to balance out what they've done in terms of incomings by letting a few of these players go. Aubameyang kind of came out of nowhere. I expected him to and still expect him to be a starter for them, or at least very important player for them this season, despite the new signing of Lewandowski. But Depay, definitely available. De Jong, we've been looking at for it feels like years, but it's been months. With the link to Manchester United, now Chelsea have apparently leapfrogged the queue in terms of him because of that Champions League football that they have potentially, and maybe he's more convinced in coming to London and the project. I don't know what you want to call it. So talks continue there. I think Chelsea at the moment are more looking at talking with the agents and players to confirm that they even want to make the move. They don't want to get done over again like they were potentially with Rafinha, etc. And that's interesting to see. But yeah, a lot of potential movement on the outgoings for Barcelona in terms of those players, those 3 players. I think when you look at Depay, Aubameyang, personally, I don't really know which one I prefer. I think both of them are, give you similar things in ways. Obviously, Aubameyang's the better finisher, you would say, or definitely more proven in the Premier League. Great goal scoring record. The only time he had a bit of a hiccup was with Arteta, some professionalism issues, not turning up for North London Derby on time, etc. But we know personally he had some problems as well. So you would just take that as a blip because usually professionalism seems to be there. And also the injury record is superb. He doesn't get injured very often. So in terms of him, maybe a loan deal, you would look at short term, nothing long term, nothing penned down for a large contract, but maybe a loan for Aubameyang. But it kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. So my thoughts are a little bit muddled on that one. Depay, again, World Cup year, a player that definitely has some talent, good finisher, definitely a better finisher than what Chelsea currently have on the books. And they definitely need to try and at least apply some extra players to that front three to give themselves some more goal scoring output, because you take a look at Arsenal with Jesus, you take a look at Tottenham with their front three, Man United even, if Ronaldo stays, you do get a guarantee at least of some goals. Someone in that team is getting you 15 goals minimum. I feel in the Premier League. Ronaldo done it last year. I think Jesus will do it at Arsenal. When you look at Chelsea, you don't really see 15 goals guaranteed in terms of the quality of finishing. So you do need to apply somebody in there, bring in somebody, and maybe one of those two players will be the solution. It will be one. I don't expect it to be both, but we'll see who it is. Maybe it'll be someone completely different. So it's an interesting one. We'll keep an eye on it, but God knows it's gonna be a strange one if it does happen. Not deals that I expected at the start of the window. So it was the Metro reporting that, and it was the Athletic that were reporting that De Jong has a preference of Chelsea over Manchester United. Whether Manchester United will walk away from the deal and move on to other midfielders, we've been expecting that he would at some point. Whether those wages will get deferred is another point as well. If he actually does leave Barcelona, that's definitely a massive hiccup in the deal. But moving on, Chelsea have also had a 60 million bid rejected. That was also confirmed by Fabrizio. 60 million for Fofana, a lot of money, but I think to test the waters, we know Leicester's asking price was 80 to start conversations. So there's a 20 million gap. They'll hope that they can maybe meet in the middle at 70, but we'll see how strong Leicester are on that. We know Fofana is definitely interested and wants to make that move if it's possible. And it was reported that Chelsea are ready to offer the young players 200,000 a week. Now, I'm not sure if they will do that because I don't really feel like that's necessary. It would be a large wage increase on what he's earning. I think at Leicester, although he did just sign a massive new contract years-wise, not so long ago, maybe only a few months ago. So I'm not sure exactly what he's earning, but it can't be necessary to maybe push him to 200K. But we'll see. It's going to take a lot of money. They tried, Leicester, to show up and firm up their interest in Ruben Loftus-Cheek to potentially do what Brighton are doing with Cucurella, which is to allow the player to go to Chelsea. But in turn, they want confirmation with Chelsea that they will get Levi Colwill in Brighton's case, and they want the statements to be put out at the same time, the deals to be done and announced at the same time, so they're not running the risk of selling Cucurella to Chelsea and then Chelsea pulling out of the deal for Levi Colwill to go the other way. Hence that Brighton statement that was released on Twitter last night, kind of going against the here we go from Fabrizio, against Matt Law, against all these journalists. But again, you just still expect the deals to happen. Similar Leicester. Leicester would seemingly want a player as well. Obviously, you would expect it maybe to be a separate deal for Fofana to still command the same fee, but then maybe a Ruben Loftus-Cheek, but apparently he wants to stay at Chelsea. Maybe a Callum Hudson-Odoi, who they're also interested for a fee as well. And we'll have to see if this is a deal that can be struck. If Chelsea are willing to let Hudson-Odoi go to get Fofana, it will be an interesting one. But it's going to take a lot of money for sure. Let's check out some of the comments just before we move on. There's a lot to get through. Any chance you can wear Ty's red headphones? Absolutely not. Anyone want Harry Winks for free? Seems like the Tottenham fan is in the comments trying to do some sort of yard sale down there. Oh God, let's see what else is being said. He's not worth 80 million. Better not pay that. I think it's difficult when you put valuation on a player like Fofana. He's obviously young, a lot of potential. Is he playing like an 80 million defender right now, which would be a Van Dijk level to a lot of people? Probably not. But in terms of the ceiling, the longevity, you could definitely see the investment and the new contract that was signed that takes it into a long-term deal at Leicester. You can understand why they want so much money for him. They paid 35 million, you have to remember also. So they didn't pay a small fee for this player. They paid a decent amount and they want to make more than double on him. So understandable in a way, but again, we'll see. Maybe they'll negotiate that down. Manchester United are also, of course, having initial talks with RB Salzburg over the signing of Slovenian striker Sesko. Now, Chelsea did look to try and hijack this move. Fabrizio also reported on that Chelsea were interested in the 19-year-old. I personally would be surprised if Chelsea did push this one all the way through, just because they do have Amando Broja, who apparently Tuchel has had talks with to keep, and obviously push back that move from West Ham. So it would be strange if Chelsea then brought in another young striker to come into the team. Manchester United, of course, maybe can facilitate a little bit more of a room for him in the team. Chelsea looking at these more experienced forwards in Depay and Aubameyang, but they were for sure leaving their feelers out there. I haven't seen too much of the player. Not sure of the level. Obviously, we know Erling Haaland came from that team. Daka also, I think, came from that team as well. So they have decent pedigree in developing forwards over recent years. But we'll have to see. Very tall, very technical apparently, but I'm not sure if that can all translate so early to the Prem, how long it will take him to develop, etc. What kind of minutes you're looking at for a player like this. But some people are certainly excited about him. But I'm not too sure about him. I think he played against Liverpool in a friendly, but I would not have caught that. So we'll have to see in terms of the level we're talking about here with this player, but definitely one for the future, for sure. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. All right, so let's move on. Bournemouth have obviously closed the deal for goalkeeper from Barcelona, Neto. That was one of the players that was 100% trying to be moved out of Barcelona, and that's now been confirmed as a player that has signed for Bournemouth, the goalkeeper. So that's confirmed. I see somebody saying, please update for Cucurella. Well, I have spoken a little bit about that statement. If you want just a little bit more clarification, of course, Cucurella to Chelsea is basically done. The deal and the fee is agreed with Brighton. Also, personal terms are agreed with Brighton. The reason why their statement came out is because Levi Colwill is not done. Their personal terms still need to be agreed there. We pretty much know the fee is going to be around about 20 to 25 million. But Brighton want to have both deals done at the same time. They want to have the confirmation that they will get Levi Colwill for the agreed transfer fee, and Chelsea will not pull out. So both deals are expected to be announced at the same time. So that's what there's a small hold up on, but there's not expected to be any problems. Levi Colwill fits in like a glove really into that Potter system. 3 at the back, possession based, good team, regular minutes, starter, similar to Mark Gurhey at Palace kind of move. And Chelsea will put a buyback on that. And apparently Brighton have no issue with that. I think the buyback will be around about 45 to 50 million. So we're just waiting on personal terms to be agreed, and then that will all go through seamlessly together. But Fabrizio has doubled down on his here we go on Twitter. He said many times last night, do not doubt me, we'll see who is lying. Literally, if you go and search the tweets and replies, he is not playing games over this deal. So when Fabrizio is double downing like that, and Cucurella's agent has also confirmed it a little bit with some of his comments on social media in comment sections of Fabrizio's tweets as well, you would expect this is done. And remember, Cucurella did hand in a transfer request as well. So probably within Brighton's best interest to get rid. Okay, so let's see what else is being said in the comments before we move on. De Jong doesn't want to play in a park the bus back 3 defensive system, says Speaking Facts. Well, we'll see, won't we? I'm pretty sure he played centre back for Xavi. Don't know if he was too pleased with that, but he'll be moving further up the pitch if he was moving to one of our clubs. How many more signings do you reckon we need? Chelsea support with a Manchester City badge. How peculiar. I would say you're looking at, like I said, Chukwuemeka obviously joins as a young player. I didn't really count him as one of the players that I would have been looking for in terms of senior recruitments. I think you're still looking about 4. You need to get that other centre back in, whether it be Fofana or somebody else. You have to obviously get Cucurella over the line. That would be 2. Then you're looking at a forward, 1 forward at the bare minimum. And for me, also, then maybe, at wing back, at right wing back, you're probably not going to get anyone at this point if you are getting Cucurella for the left. You've seen Loftus-Cheek applied there at right wing back a few times. We'll see. That 4th is up for discussion. Could be another forward, could be another young player. We'll have to see. But minimum 3, going to 4. So let's see. Any more comments down there? No idea. Absolutely no idea. CR7 would be so good to add to all of these deals. Do you think Auba would work well with Sterling? I think Aubameyang has definitely worked well with Tuchel. They've got a great relationship. So that's where that link potentially comes from as well. This would be a Tuchel signing for sure. When it comes down to working with Sterling, I think Sterling would then vacate to the right-hand side. His chance creation for Manchester City was really strong over there. City fans regurgitate that out a lot. So he would go to the right more often than not. I think Aubameyang would play off the left, potentially instead of Kai down the middle, or alongside Kai if he's playing well down the left, making those runs that he made for Arsenal. Would he do well? I'm 50-50 because I think the player has certainly dropped off a little bit from his, heydays and peak at Arsenal. But at the end of the day, he can still finish very well. Seems to still be having a knack for getting goals. Definitely had an upturn in form at Barcelona from what I saw. And he's still, reasonably got his pace and he makes very good runs, good movement. So for me, Aubameyang will be determined on Chelsea's chance creation and whether they can spot his runs as it was with Werner. But the difference is Aubameyang can actually finish instead of Werner. So it could go either way. I'm not going to say that I'm ridiculously overly confident that a Chelsea forward will do well, because that would be very naive of me. But I certainly will expect him to do decent at the bare minimum. So we'll have to see. So yes, that's basically that side of things. We spoke about Bournemouth. Obviously, we've seen Dean Henderson come out, rattled a lot of Manchester United fans. They're not happy about his comments, I think, after leaving on loan to Nottingham Forest. Jamie O'Hara certainly doesn't seem to think he'll play for Manchester United ever again. He said that on TalkSport there. I know a lot of Man United fans are not happy. I've even seen some Man United fans saying that they want him to be relegated. I think I've seen KG say that on Twitter. He wants Nottingham Forest to be relegated after some of those comments. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. But I don't know. It's a weird one for me. I think signed a new massive contract. De Gea is there, kind of the writing's kind of on the wall politically, even that you probably won't get ahead of him for a sustained amount of time. Haven't spoke about Bernardo news because again, I'm struggling to understand if they can make this deal happen without the sales that we mentioned, or at least without the outgoings that we mentioned. They say they can make this deal happen before they have any more exits. I would be silly to doubt Barcelona at this point in terms of that. But Manchester City, one thing I will say, if Manchester City, because there's no official bid yet, so there's nothing to talk about financially yet, but if Manchester City do allow Bernardo Silva to leave, I think it's a massive, massive blow to their defending of the title. Not saying that they won't defend it, but I think they definitely weaken themselves drastically, because I think he's a huge player for them. Very underrated, extremely talented, knows the Pep system in and out at this point, able to occupy many, many positions, so a lot of responsibility. And if De Bruyne was to pick up an injury, which he's, last couple of years, he's had a few knocks and niggles, then I think you're definitely putting a lot of pressure on the likes of Foden to step up in those chance creation roles centrally. Grealish will have to step up massively as well. I don't know. I just think it's a big move to let go of this many players. I think Bernardo would be like your final straw if you're a Man City fan. You're like, well, what is really going on here now? This is a bit overkill. Now, maybe if they include De Jong in a deal, that's someone that I could see fitting in like a glove at Manchester City if they did a swap deal for De Jong and Bernardo Silva, because I think De Jong would slot in quite nicely alongside Rodri. You push Kevin De Bruyne forward into the attacking midfield role, closer to goal for the finishing. And I think De Jong is not a direct replacement for Bernardo in terms of position, but I think he's a very Manchester City type player and how good he is on the ball. So I think that would make sense. That's as good as it gets, I think, in this market right now, if you're looking to replace him, if you really want to let him go. But I would, if I'm a Man City fan, I'd rather just keep Bernardo. I think Bernardo is a brilliant player. I think he walks into every single team in this league with no questions. Even Liverpool, I think he walks in. So yeah, I would be a little bit surprised, but also don't be surprised, I guess, because Barcelona right now are playing a different game entirely. I'm going to go through a few of your questions for the final minutes before we wrap up. That's basically everything, unless there is comments that you want me to address as well. De Jong is not nearly as creative as Silva, though. 100%. Listen, I think De Jong's creativity is a little bit different. He's obviously playing a lot deeper, so you're not expecting the same level of assists, even the killer passing, because Bernardo is much higher up the field. But I think he definitely can play through the lines very well, can carry the ball. And I think that is, in essence, a type of creativity. Maybe not exactly the same, but definitely a type. This super chat here from Aston Villa, agent Gerard, says, Alisson, Williams, Koulibaly, Van Dijk, Cancelo, Alonso, Carvalho, De Bruyne, Leon Bailey, Gundogan, Son, Archer, Jesus, Ings. How bad is my FPL? Wow. It's difficult. I think Son, Jesus, good. I think Gundogan is an interesting one. I don't know if he's going to start every game. Bailey's a risk. I think that's some of your bias maybe in there. I do like Bailey, but I just don't know what the plan is for him at Villa at the moment. He's a little bit in and out. De Bruyne's very expensive, but I don't know. Maybe if you get rid there and maybe, I don't know. I think De Bruyne will get a lot of goals this season. You've gone very expensive in the defense as well. So yeah. You've definitely gone with like a clear bench and then just starters. So, I mean, we'll see how it works out for you. I'm not sure. You let him know in the comments down below. I think Ings as well. Ings might be a little bit of a risk. Maybe picks up too many injuries. I did do FPL last season, and then I was so busy I never picked my team. So I'm actually just not going to bother this season because I know I'm not going to have time to pick my team. I know I'm not going to remember. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to lie to you because I would just be putting you in false hope if you think I'm going to be able to play FPL continuously. I'm just so focused on just the content right now. I'm not going to remember to pick my team. Those 11 o'clock deadlines on Saturday, I know the site just crashes at like 10.50. It's wild. Absolutely wild. And you know what? With the World Cup and 5 subs, I just don't even want the frustration of squad rotation this season. There's going to be so much squad rotation with those 5 subs, with that World Cup, with that congested fixture list, with Europe. Conference League is obviously a new thing. That's more squad rotation for West Ham there. I just can't even be asked with the frustration of just taking L's repeatedly in FPL, because I know that's what's going to happen. So I'm one of them people that will use their wild card within the first 2-3 weeks after screwing up. And then, yeah, my head's gone after that. I lost all composure. So we're just not even going to have the attempt. Maybe next year. Let's see. Any more comments? Premier League starts tomorrow. Yes. Palace versus Arsenal. Very much looking forward to the game to see if Arsenal can continue their good preseason, or will they be humbled by Crystal Palace? Obviously, the same team that gave them quite the beating last season in their top 4 race. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a great game. It's a perfect game to kick off the season. Same as last year. Arsenal obviously was away to Brentford. So we shall see. But listen, we're going to wrap up. There's a lot to do, a lot to say in the coming days. It seems like it's really heating up now. Just under a month to go. So expect plenty of transfer news daily on this show and on this channel. I'm really looking forward to covering it all. Saturday Football Show will be back. So stay tuned for that. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, that's going to be brilliant. Everton and Chelsea, I think, follow that in the evening kickoff. So I think I'm doing a double there. You'll see me on both. And yeah, until then, keep your eyes on that foot golf, because as you can see, the redemption arc is continuing. And man is certainly gaining respect in the community. I haven't seen any footy golf slander in the comments today, which I find very, very intriguing. It seems like I have recovered fully. It's a beautiful day. All right, big up your damn selves. Listen, make sure you subscribe to DR Sports and keep up to date with the transfers. And yeah, smash up the likes. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace.